Everyone, and welcome to Creators and Coffee. I am your host, Erica from Autofluencer. And joining me today, I am so very excited, is Theresa Contreras and Jane Thurmond. You might know them as Fastlane Jane and Design Muse. You may also know them as the host of High Octane Hustle and about 800 other things. So
Yes,
I'm going to
800.
let them, like, they do literally all the things. So I'm going to let them give their backgrounds. But welcome, ladies. Yay!
Thank you. Thank
Woo!
you, Erica.
So excited to be here in Erica for Autofluencer. So cool. Thanks for having
Yes.
us
Yeah,
on.
I actually had the privilege to be one of the sponsors of one of the episodes of High Octane Hustle. That was very exciting. It was our
Awesome.
first podcast sponsorship. Woo-hoo. Really wanted to have both of you on because I do think you both have such great backgrounds. I'll let you share them here in a second, as well as you create a lot. And I think it's really interesting for creators to hear where can you go and for brands to hear this is how things evolve when you work with a creator, maybe even early stage, they can evolve to be doing all these things. And as a brand getting involved early. So very powerful. So again, I'll let you guys start. Give us your background. Teresa, why don't you go first?
Theresa Contreras. I am a graphic designer, builder, custom painter, racer, a little bit of everything. I love to ride motorcycles, but grew up in a family business, went to school for graphic design. I started teaching myself how to paint cars, started going to the SEMA show, loved all of it, put it all together and built custom cars. Now I have my business is called Baja Forge, which was kind of built out of, my love for like a specific design and stuff for off-road vehicles. Also do Real Deal Revolution, which is a nonprofit where we're changing the perception of skilled trades and women's roles in them. And I do a podcast with here Fastlane Jane called High Octane Hustle.
Woohoo.
You,
Woohoo.
Jane?
Well, hi guys. I'm Fastlane Jane, and I've been in the automotive industry since, well, I was 18 years old. My husband and I started a shop, and it all started with detailing cars, then learning how to buff out a car, then learning how to paint a car, then learning how to build. And we went into building Corvettes and now off-road trucks. And our company name is GTS Customs. But yes, like Theresa, I've done a bunch of different stuff, from always teaching, always talking, whether it was teaching aerobics to teaching people how to drive. I work with a nonprofit, B.R.A.K.E.S, Be Responsible and Keep Everybody Safe. Excuse me, that was easy for me to say. And we focus on teen proactive and defensive driving. And I also work with different manufacturers, major automotive manufacturers, and blogging and creating, right, Theresa? We're creating, and we're creating podcasts. And we're so excited to be here with you, Erica. Thank you so much for having us. I hope that was fast enough.
No, that was great. I love it. I think it helps people get a background of just how varied, your experiences are. And what I love is that you both come from different angles, right, of the industry and different sides and different approaches. And then, came together with this awesome podcast. If you haven't listened to High Octane Hustle, go listen to it. It is so much fun. It always puts me in a good mood. I always learn so much. So yeah, it's awesome. What I want to jump into here is, as we think about partnerships, and both of you have done a lot of partnerships, both actually as the brand working with creators, or inversely as creators working with brands. It's kind of obligatory of Creators and Coffee and our goal to educate. We can't ever ask this question enough times, but what do you think goes into setting up a good partnership? What are the must-haves in, getting a good partnership set up?
Right off the hand, you need to know if it's the right alignment. If their morals or values, what it is it in alignment with what you want to do? Is it a brand you trust or believe in and you can put yourself behind? And vice versa, and then really just the communication around that, making sure that you guys are always on the same page. So starting out like that to begin with, I think it's really important.
I echo that sentiment too, because if you don't have motivations that are aligned, it's not about the money. You're going to be literally figuratively in bed with this person and promoting their product. And we want that to be something that we organically feel and authentically feel positive about and can share,
Yeah.
because I think that's where the greatest partnerships flourish. And open communication, right? Having communication and great understanding, also understanding the value that you bring to the brand as a creator or a racer or any of the other bevy ways that we can be involved with a brand, right?
Yeah, I think that's such a great tip. And I love the, the authentic, what you mentioned, Jane, and making sure it's something you really are passionate about. But there is a difference going to what you said, Teresa. I might be really passionate about a particular product, but as a personality, as a human, that brand's goals, objectives, and values may not be who I am. And that's okay. Right? That's
Yeah.
okay. I do see some people, some creators that I've talked with maybe got frustrated because a brand didn't end up working with them or partnering with them, but they might also have very strong personalities, which is who they are, which is how they built their audience, which is how they built that community. And that brand partnership, I have to remind them, wouldn't have been right for them,
Right.
because they wouldn't
Yes.
have been able to be authentically themselves.
Yeah.
And so you can still have a passion and a love for a product, but it may not always be the best alignment. And I think knowing that up front versus getting deep into it is a great tip.
To add to that too, timing is everything. We hear this from our
Mm.
producers that say it might just be no for right now. It might not be a hard no, but just for right now. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well.
Totally, because down the line, something can align in a different way where it makes more sense to both parties in the future.
And I think that also opens the door. You may not always get it, but if you are a creator, and you get that no from the brand, they may or may not answer, they may or may not give feedback, but if you can get it so that it might help, is this a no for now or is this a no kind of, oh, we just, have different values and then I know and I can move on. Let's move on to another thing that we talked about we're previously discussing, which is another tip around the planning and structuring, right? It's one thing to be like, oh no, this is common, this is great, this is gonna work out. And then it's you gotta do the thing.
It's probably the hardest part of it is the planning and the structuring around everything, because again, it's aligning so many different schedules, so many different ideas of things, because now maybe, okay, you have your values and your goals in alignment, but people have new ideas and what someone else wants to bring to the table and what that
Yep.
looks like. So really being open and understanding as a team, as partners and stuff, of what that looks like, so that we make sure everyone's being heard, and then we're making sure shit's getting done still too, and making sure we're on schedule to do things, and it's all in alignment that way. Yeah.
Not only are we dealing with having conversation and planning with the space that we utilize, and then of course our production team, then of course travel schedules, right? Teresa's maybe home, 1 week out of a month, right? And then summer
Both of
hits.
us.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine, if you will, it's getting all the plates spinning at the same time. And when that all comes together, boy, it's exciting. But it doesn't come without effort. And like you said,
Yeah.
it's not just us all of a sudden, okay, hey, one day we're going to do a podcast,
Yeah.
and it's going to succeed.
Yeah.
That's on top of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any tips and tricks that you all have found over time? Because again, I mean, you guys were talking about the podcast, but then you both, from a content creation standpoint, do more than just a podcast, right? You both have, great social profiles and you put out a lot of content there. Any tips and tricks of what you found to work to be better structured or to organize it better? What works for you? What do you use to keep all those plates spinning?
I,
I feel like that's an ever changing thing. It's a lot of texts, a lot of phone calls to do this person to this person. I haven't found one particular thing. I've found some things for myself personally that have helped me get more organized.
What is it? Is it like a spreadsheet? Do you use a spreadsheet? Do you use calendaring? Do you
I'm
use?
using, it's called Motion, and so what it
Oh,
does,
you're like the third
yeah,
person to say that.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
good. Well, I'm glad other people are using it. I liked it. I've been using it probably a couple months now. I like the way, so it aligns my all of my calendars across the board, which is really hard because yes, I have 5 different email addresses that go to
Yep.
different things so that I know the right. So then one's for this business and one's for the nonprofit. So when I know what those schedules are and they align, then it helps me
I
to
love that.
better, offer this is the schedule that I have available right now, So it actually has helped me personally a lot.
Jane, what about you?
I'm old
With
school.
you, girl.
I do a whole lot of writing down. And then
That too.
Trello is a great resource for me because then I can move my little boards around and
Yep.
so
Oh, you
forth.
said Trello?
Yep.
Trello,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And
I like
then
Trello too.
yeah, Trello is so good and it's
Yeah.
attractive. So I have to be involved in something that looks, you know what I'm saying? It brings me in. I've really found different and unique ways to use my personal device. That helps, makes a huge difference. Like exercise, just do it. And trust me when I say this, I'm there about 75, 80% because there's things that do fall through. There's reality
Of
that
course.
happens.
Right.
Right? I think we can all attest to that because you're called on from so many different angles, but notebook paper works for me.
Teresa, you're talking notebook paper. Yeah, but you got to go old school sometimes.
I am tactile person too though. I love writing and I put it in. So I write everything down first. I keep all my notebooks too. I have
Yeah,
notebooks from like years ago.
I do
Yeah.
too.
Because I write notes and I doodle and I do things. So like certain things I'll go through my notebooks, but I keep most of my notes like that. I still love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes like when you've had those notebooks, because I understand that too, and my family doesn't, it's a thing, but you go back and you read and you're like, wow, that was a really great idea. Why didn't I act on that? Or maybe now's the time for that
Yeah.
magic moment. So
No, those are great tips. I like that. So, obviously, I think a lot of people still, the notebook, so many of us are tactile. And then tools for other people to maybe look at, Motion.ai, which is a calendar organizer, Trello for those that
Trello.
haven't
Yeah.
seen it. Real easy, can drag and drop. That's great. Let's talk about, okay, so we talked about setting up our partnerships. We talked about now organizing our partnerships. Now let's talk about kind of the engagement, that next side, and what that looks like both as a creator and how you guys stay on top of engaging with people engaging with you, and then how you might use engagement to engage with brands.
One of the first thing is collaborating with other people.
Yeah.
When you're engaging with everyone, doing collaborations on post, because
Mm,
especially like you said, like Jane and I are doing all of these different types of things. We're working with a lot of other people, a lot of other brands. So making sure you're collaborating on that and then engagement with those collaborations with other people, sharing the post and stories so that other people know it's going, tagging them in stories too as well. That's huge. That really goes really far.
yeah, I agree with that 100%. And at first it might seem a little uncomfortable. At least it did for me. Like, oh, shoot, I'm going to tag this person or I'm going to invite them to collaborate. And everybody is coming around to this concept of we grow together. Everything is really predicated on that and sharing with brands that don't even seem like they be a fit for your brand. It's amazing how once you tap into maybe a little different space, how welcoming that can be. I know that seems strange because we're all on our devices and we're not sitting here engaging like we are now, but sharing dialogue, sharing engagement, sharing posts and tagging. And then, it does require some time brushing up on what the algorithm is doing too.
right.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Teresa, from the brand side, from the Baja Forge side, right, which is a manufacturer, what about when people engage on your content as the manufacturer? How important is to you guys to re-engage back on that?
Oh no, yeah, really important. A lot of people will tag us, they'll share about the product in a post and stuff. So we want to make sure that we're hearing them, responding, sharing that,
Mhm.
engaging somehow, telling them thank you, for sharing that content and stuff as well.
I think that's a huge brand tip. I mean, a lot of this engagement type was on the creator and, creators ensuring that they engage with their content, that they share it, that they, leverage collaboration tags. I think there's an inverse too to that brand, in the, respond back to your comments on your posts. A lot of the brands don't
Yes.
do a
Yeah.
lot of posts. Or if a creator does collab tag you on a post, and you accept it, engage in that comment thread or like other people's comments. Because I will say, I had someone actually do that with me on LinkedIn the other day, and he happened to be the CEO of the company, and they had some big exciting news. I commented, and I don't really know him, but I met him once at an airport. I don't think that counts, and I'm pretty 99% sure he has no idea he met me. He commented back on my thing, and he's kind of a big deal. So I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. Did we just become best friends? I didn't do that, but it was, it was.
But you're ready. You're
I am
ready, aren't
ready.
you?
I am ready. So if he does want to
I'm
become best
open to
friends,
that.
I am open.
Best friend.
Yeah, but I think that's something brands really kind of forget about is to that user. I mean, then you get users for life, right? When you
Yes.
engage or when they engage back in those comments, then that's big.
Yeah.
That's really big to those people, the people communicating, even if it wasn't your post. It's cool when they take that time and that effort. And, even if it is your social media coordinator doing it, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that tip. Well, ladies, thank you so much. This was great. Just to recap real quick is out of the gate, right? Make sure that before you even go too deep with any brand or even approach them, you might love the brand, but do your values align? Do you know their goals and objectives? If not, ask them, figure that out. Keep up open communication. I love it. So make sure that you're really setting up a partnership intentionally. And then don't forget the planning and structuring. There's a lot to it. Plan out your content, use tools to make you more efficient, really look at those schedules, logistics. And if you have partners and other people you're working with, know that it's not just, the sun doesn't just revolve around you. You got to work with other people's schedules. And then, of course, once the content's out there, be sure to engage not only in your own content, that of other brands. If you're a brand, engage with other people's content. And because that engagement is what builds the relationships in the community, right? That keeps it going. That helps speed.
Got
So
it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I hope to talk to you both again
Thank
soon.
you. Thanks, Erica.
Thanks for having us on, Erica. This is awesome.
Yes. Awesome. Take care.